Every trader talks about POI mitigation as an entry signal. Price needs to mitigate your POI before you look out for entries. But what happens when every POI has already been mitigated and you have nowhere to enter the trade? That's where 90% of traders get stuck. Most traders only know how to enter a trade from a POI, and very few understand how to enter the market when all POIs are mitigated. And oftentimes, smart money moves price, leaving you behind. And what if I told you there is a way to catch the continuation move effortlessly when there is no POI, like your order block, your imbalance, and so on? In this video, I am breaking down the secret continuation entry and liquidity trick smart money uses even when all POIs have been mitigated. As you can see right here, this is the exact continuation entry strategy I use to catch this high risk reward trades even when there is no clean POI on the chart. Make sure you watch to the end because I will show you how I did profit from this exact strategy. Let's get started. Moving on, let's uncover the secret on how to trade the continuation and also how to trade when all the POIs within your bullish structure or bearish structure has been mitigated. So in this case scenario, we are dealing with an upward trend. I have received a lot of questions from traders asking, how do you determine your entry when there is no unmitigated POI to determine your entry? And also, how do you trade a continuation move? These are two powerful insights I want to uncover. Make sure you watch this video to the end, as I will be revealing live trades example I took based on this approach with my community. We did speculate this move even before it happened. Moving on, like I have always taught you, whenever you open your chart, the first thing you need to do is identify your trend, the phase, and you proceed to mark out your structures. So moving on, we can clearly see that this is an upward trend, and currently this trend is in a corrective phase. Price does not just move randomly, it moves in phases. So to validate a continuation entry, we need to wait for the corrective phase to end, and we also need to ensure that the liquidity hunt is over, and then we wait for price at our smart money POI. So having identified the trend and defined the phase of the market, let's go ahead to break down this structure to enable us determine our valid point of interest and structures. So first, we identify our inducement zone. Right here we have our valid inducement zone, and having identified our inducement zone, the next thing is to identify our point of interest. But we cannot just identify our point of interest because we need to ensure that our point of interest is still within our bullish structure. So which element of structure mapping will help us determine our bullish structure level? So the element we need to identify is the change of character zone to ensure that our POI is still within our bullish structure. So moving on, let's proceed to identify our valid change of character zone. Okay, so this is not a valid change of character. So right here we have our first point of liquidity, which is our inducement. So if you do not know how to identify your pullbacks, trust me, you wouldn't know how to identify a valid inducement zone. So if you're still finding this difficult, make sure to watch my video on pullbacks and inducement to have a better understanding on how to navigate your market structure. So having identified our inducement, we want to see price break the major high that took out inducement. All right, this high is known as our break of structure. Okay, and afterwards, since we have a valid break above, then this automatically becomes our major low and our change of character zone right here. So having defined this simply means that we want to identify and ensure that our POI stays within this bullish structure right here. So moving on, let's now proceed to identify our valid POIs. So in a bullish trend, we want to identify our POIs from the left side of the structure because we use the past to predict the future. So we don't want to start identifying POIs from the future. All right. So right here, based on this move, we can clearly see that this other block right here has been mitigated. Moving on, we want to identify more POIs. Okay. So right here, we can clearly see that this POI as well has been mitigated around this zone. Okay, it has been mitigated, and even if we extend it into the future, it has also been mitigated and invalidated. All right, so that is why we always pay attention to unmitigated POIs. And then moving on, any other POI we identify is just before our inducement zone, and we don't want to buy before our inducement, else will become smart money trap. So this is where a lot of traders get confused as to what to do when all POIs has been mitigated. So let's take all of these off. Okay, so when price has mitigated your POI and fails to push higher, it means the liquidity from these POI zones are not sufficient. Price needs more liquidity. So since all POIs have been mitigated, what do we do? How do we approach the chart? Okay, there are two things involved. Most times when all your POIs within your structure zone has been mitigated, price engineers more liquidity to be able to fuel the next buy move. In my previous video, I did mention that when you see an obvious zone like this, it simply means that this is a liquidity pool waiting to be triggered. Okay, price is still accumulating liquidity. So as a smart trader, you need to patiently wait for the liquidity to be cleared around this zone. Also, when price has mitigated all POIs, the next price behavior we will be anticipating is that price may come for the next external liquidity structure, which is our chalk zone. So if the big players realize that there is no sufficient liquidity seated around this zone to fuel the next buy move, guess what they would do? They would engineer more liquidity structure to have enough stop orders seated around this zone to be able to grab and then eventually fuel the next buy move. I know a lot of people will be wondering, what is this liquidity? What is this liquidity? Let me just quickly simplify this. Okay, this is an advanced concept, but let me just bring it to light. So let me quickly simplify this in a layman terms. Okay, so if you want to buy a product, it means you have someone who is willing to sell to you, right? Now, when the big players come up on the chart, they do not execute their orders in hundreds and thousands of dollars. They execute orders in billions, worth of orders. So when they want to execute their orders, they need a counterparty to be able to fill their orders. Okay, so if they want to buy, they should have sellers who are equivalent to their buying positions. So if they want to buy and there are no sufficient liquidity on the chart, for example, if they want to buy 100 billion worth of orders and there are no counter orders to fill their position, then what they do is they engineer you to buy earlier than you ought to buy. Okay, so when you set your stop loss around this zone and your stop loss gets hit, it means that you have sold off your position that you were holding, and then the big players will be able to fill their remaining position. So if they have 100 billion worth of orders and then they engineer you to buy around this zone, you would see that there is a probability that there will be at least 90 billion or 100 billion traders who have positioned also around this zone to buy, setting their stop loss right here. So what they do is they pump price to grab this liquidity to be able to fill their buy orders, and then they can now comfortably move the market higher. That is why I always say that institutions fuel the market, and if you can understand how to align your trades in their direction, your chances of profitability in this space will be very high. After this explanation, you still think trading is all about clicking the buy and sell button. If you don't step up your game, you will keep donating to the market. So if you don't take the time to get the right knowledge, you could be among 90% of traders that uses their positions to fill the smart money orders. Like I said previously, price is engineering liquidity here. Since all the POIs has been mitigated, price may come for this major and external liquidity zone. Okay, because once price moves beyond this zone, it means that this market is now bearish. So there are certain price behavior that we anticipate around this zone to determine our entry. Now at this point, a lot of traders will be thinking that this market has reversed, that price still want to sell. Look at this impulsive move. Guys, these are just a pumping price to grab more liquidity, to engineer more traders, to induce more traders to buy and sell. So whenever you see an obvious zones like this, stay off the market and wait for a clear direction before you start buying or selling. So moving on, how do we trade this continuation? Having seen that all POIs has been mitigated, number one is to be patient. Okay, secondly, you need to pay attention to price behavior. As a matter of fact, guys, I did speculate this move before it happened. So guys, I did break this down during one of my live sessions with my mentees, and I did share deep insights on how to navigate through market conditions like this. Okay, also after the live session, I did share this breakdown and entries in my free Telegram community. Okay, right here. So as you can see on the screen, I did break down this move before it happened. A lot of people will be willing to buy from here, but based on my experience and the deep insights which I also shared with my community, there was no reason to buy from here. Instead, as you can see this navigation here, we positioned for a sell right here, and I did share the entry also with my community. So if you have a clear understanding of how this market operates, you'll be trading in the direction of the institutions. So from my knowledge and from the price behavior here, which I may not be able to explain all in details in this video, we position also for another buying opportunity, that is after the sellers has been exhausted. So from my experience and price behavior, which I shared with my mentees, we position for a sell alongside the institutions to grab liquidity from here before the next buy phase. So like I said, I also shared this with my free Telegram community. If you are not here, you are missing out. So right here is the sell entry that we got, and also the trade was also triggered right here. We got in on the trade. Okay, I did call the signal, we got in on the trade, and we bagged some profit. So as you can see, we followed up on this trade and we did profit from it. I do not just provide you with signals, I show you the process and reason for the signal. It's not magic, it's simply proven skill and mastery. At Rity Trade Hub, we do not trade blindly, okay? I break down every move of the market. So if you are ready to transform your trading skill, you can join my free community of informed and smart traders using the link in the description. So right there, you will get access to free signals to help you profit from the market, and as well as educational content, okay? So right here on the chart, okay, as you can see, this actually played out just like we speculated, okay? So as you can see, this price did hit our target and our speculation. As you can see, this is a counter trend move, but with the right knowledge, we were able to maximize profit from it. So at this point, let's play price forward to see how we can get an entry based on price behavior. If price behavior gives us a signal to go long, then we continue with our buy entries, okay? And then if we get a confirmation to go short, then we go short. Price behavior, like I always say, is very important. So price behavior will tell you what to do at the moment. All right, so moving on, let's play price forward and see what we've got. All right guys, as you can see, patience in this industry is a virtue, okay? So right here, clearly price has swept our major liquidity zone, our external liquidity zone. So how do we get involved in this trade? How do we trade the continuation? Remember, I said before you trade your continuation, you need to ensure that the corrective phase has ended, that price has grabbed liquidity, and you should also be able to identify the footprints indicating that the big players are ready to push price higher. So as you can clearly see, you see that price has grabbed the major liquidity zone, targeting all the stop losses sitting around here. And we can also see strong momentum candle indicating the presence of the big players. So having identified this signal, we need a signal confirmation. We still do not just jump into the trade, okay? Don't rush to start executing your orders. Wait for a clear price direction. So since the institutions have signaled that they are ready to push price higher based on the price behavior which you can identify on the chart, so we need a confirmation such as a shift in market momentum, like our minor change of character, okay? That would be our entry confirmation based on our higher time frame structure. So once we identify that, it has signaled that smart money is ready to continue the move, and this setup will give us the safest entries with the trend. So at this point, we will be trading the continuation right after the manipulation. So while a lot of traders are still confused about what is going on here, smart traders who understand correct market structure will just position like the institutions for the continuation move. So guys, the continuation entry, whether with an order block or without an order block, is so powerful because you are entering with the institutional momentum and not against it. So after a liquidity grab, like I mentioned, we need a structure shift, and this is our minor structure zone, which we are anticipating a structure shift. So this is our minor change of character zone. Also guys, remember this is our higher time frame, or this is my higher time frame, okay? So based on my experience, I wouldn't just watch this price move all the way from here to this zone because I am also an intraday trader, okay? So based on that, I was also able to maximize profit from this zone all the way to this zone before our confirmation, and that is where the knowledge comes in. With proper knowledge, you understand how to integrate your higher time frame analysis to your lower time frame analysis, which is also known as top-down analysis. The best part is that I did follow up with this trade setup, did share the breakdown with my mentees, okay, and we did profit from it as well. However, I did not share this with my free Telegram community because this is a premium content, okay? So right here on the screen, I did speculate on the next move from our next bullish entry point to the break of structure zone. Okay, and before that, like I mentioned previously, we were also able to maximize profit from this zone. Okay, right here I break down every move of the market so that you will learn and profit from. Okay, so while we were still anticipating our higher time frame major bullish entry point, we were also able to maximize profit based on our lower time frame structures and proper understanding of the market. Although we were waiting for liquidity to be taken out, but based on experience and proper understanding of the market, we were also able to maximize profit from this. So guys, can you see how we define every move of the market before the market even plays out? So back on the screen here, you can clearly see how we speculate on price and patiently wait for price to come to us before we make the move. So moving on, let's play price forward. Let me show you exactly how to break this down. And also remember, while you're following price, you need to mark out your structures so that you observe price behaviors around those zones. So here we have our break of structure zone because liquidity inducement zone has been taken. Okay, so our next entry point, because this is a continuation move and an upward trend, price makes new highs. So once we get a conservative entry confirmation here, then we will be targeting this high. Okay, this entry is an aggressive entry, however, with proper understanding, you can also maximize profit from that. So moving on, let's play price forward. Now we have a sweep of this high, so we need a valid close above to validate our conservative entry. Okay, so this is our next target. So this transfers from here to here. Okay, so we want to see price close above that high. So let's play price forward. All right guys, so as you can see, we have a valid close above here, so that is also a sweep. So we have another high, so we would want price to close above this high. So that's our next chalk zone. So this is where we'll now have our valid confirmation. You know the drill. After identifying our valid shift in market momentum, where is our next point of liquidity before we start buying? Okay, this is a systematic approach and you need to follow them judiciously, meticulously, else you will be trapped in the market. Okay, so moving on here, this is our first point of liquidity. Then where is our unmitigated POI, where we are anticipating our next buy move? Okay, so right here you can clearly see that we have a valid order flow here, okay, which is at the extreme zone. So we're anticipating price around here. I did also share this in the breakdown which I shared previously with my community, guys, and I believe you also saw that when I did pop the screen up from the community. Okay, so with the free value that I dish out here, you can tell how my mentorship program will be. Okay, so if you're ready to grow and become a smart and successful forex trader, I am here and committed to guide you into becoming a knowledgeable, confident, and consistently profitable trader. To get started, the link is in the description. Moving on, let's play price forward and see how this played out. So guys, as you can see, that was too fast. Price created another inducement zone. The market here is all about patience, and having identified this zone, price mitigated this order flow right here. Okay, and then we have another entry opportunity from this zone. Okay, because see the way price pumped into this smart money POI with clear imbalance. So we want to identify where next is price likely to get orders from. So we can clearly see another POI here. We want to observe price behavior here before we go long. And like I always say, a lot of traders will be confused about this move, thinking that the market is now bearish, maybe to this next low. That's not valid, guys. Once you understand market structure, you will understand the flow of the market and the flow of the institution. So based on this, we are not emotionally reacting to the candlesticks because we know exactly what is going on in the market. So let's go ahead and play price forward and see what we've got. All right guys, you can see, okay, price mitigated this POI, and that is why I always talk about signal confirmation. There was no signal confirmation for us to buy from here. Okay, and as you can see, after inducement has been taken, we have our internal structure here. The market is deep, guys. Okay, so we have our internal structure right here. Always mark out your structure so that you understand price behavior when price gets to that zone. So this POI has been invalidated, and right now this is our extreme POI. I want to observe price behavior around here. So currently this bullish candle is an inside bar. If we can get a close above, we would know that price is ready to fuel the next buy move. Also guys, while we were waiting for an entry around this POI initially, we can still maximize more entry opportunity based on our lower time frame. Remember, we are not discussing top down analysis, okay? And also, even with this bearish move, we can also maximize profit, which I also did with my community. I wouldn't be able to keep pulling everything up, but once you understand the flow of the market, you would know when the market is having a deeper pullback and how to get involved in it. And also, integration of your lower time frame analysis is very important. Remember, this is a higher time frame structure. So moving on, let's play price forward and see what we've got. So right here we have an entry confirmation. Okay, you can see that we have a strong momentum candle close above, and then we see price mitigate that zone. That's an advanced entry model. Okay, and then price, okay, so we have a close above and a close above our major structure as well. So moving on, this is what we've got so far. So you can clearly see that we have a valid break of structure of our internal break of structure zone, and then our major high also has been taken right here. Okay, so guys, liquidity fuels the market, and you can see this for yourself. Now moving on, you know the drill, same thing is applicable. This is how you can integrate price behavior analysis in your trading approach. Okay, clearly you can see that we have a sweep of this zone. If this candle has closed below, we will not have any business buying from this zone, but because of this single price behavior, regardless of the fact that price was actually pushing lower, this changed our entire market bias and decision. So moving on, the upward trend did resume, and so as you can see, price kept pushing higher. Okay, so I don't want this video to be too long. I'll be wrapping it up right here. So the major thing I wanted you to know, for those who are asking, this is how to trade a continuation move when all your POIs have been mitigated. Now you know how smart money enters the trade even after all POIs are mitigated. You've just learned a strategy that most traders never understand. So the next time you see all POIs are mitigated, don't chase the move. Patiently wait for price to grab liquidity from the liquidity structures around the overall range and execute your continuation entry strategy using the exact steps I've outlined in this video. That's where smart traders print money. And that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you got value from this breakdown and want more strategies like this, drop a comment below, hit that like button and subscribe for more smart money lessons.